It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life. From the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators. The famous and not so famous. The controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here is Douglas Coleman.
Well. Hello there. Heidi ho. Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Angelo Rodrigues of the Mystics is here today. Very excited to have Angelo on. We've played of several of the Mystics tracks already on previous shows. And Angelo and I have been hooked up on Facebook for some time. We have a lot of mutual friends. But we've never actually spoke until recently. So very excited. It was a great interview. Him and I really dig the same music. And I'm always happy to meet fellow musicians who like the same stuff that I do and are inspired by the same stuff that I was. So he will be up. We're going to play 3 of his tracks, 2 during the show and 1 as a preview at the beginning of the interview. So stay tuned for that. Before we get to the Mystics and Angelo Rodrigues, we've got a couple of tracks to play from Music X-Ray submissions. Thank you very much to everybody who's been submitting on Music X-Ray. We're getting lots of tracks, lots of great tracks, and I'm happy to play them on the show. The first one and the second one are repeats. They're just great songs that I like to play over and over again. And the third one is a new track. So the first one is Half Light, Half Sound by Acme Giants, followed by If I Wait by Sarah P. And the new one, the premiere, is The One by Jason McDoomba, or McDoombe. I'll spell it MacDoombe. So we will have those 3 tracks first, and then the interview with Angelo Rodrigues of the Mystics.
Contract. Have lights, have sound. I'd be waiting on forever, but I don't. I don't have the time. Spent it all on you, and what you still can't say. And if I wait, the weather's getting cold, and this ain't what I want. But lately I've been feeling warmer here when I'm alone. 'Cause I ain't got the time. Spent it all on you, and what you still can't say. Each night I'ma sleep a little better, and each day I'll be a little more together. And you and your ego will be alright. It won't keep you awake. I won't be lonely 'cause I'm keeping all the loving that I gave. I'm giving it back to me 'cause I need it more. And I'm sending all of your well wishes out the door. You've done me in this time, and I just can't wait. No, I just can't wait. Yeah, I know I'll be waiting on what ain't gonna come, 'cause it's impossible to give you everything that you want. Yeah, I know it's not the first time that I said I was done, but it's the first time that I'm taking back the loving that I gave. What you want, baby, I'd be waiting on forever, and I don't have the time. Spent it all on you, and what you still can't say. Each night I'ma sleep a little better, and each day I'll be a little more together. And you and your ego will be alright. It won't keep you awake. I won't be lonely 'cause I'm keeping all the loving that I gave. And if I wait, and if I wait, and if I wait, I won't be lonely 'cause I'm keeping all the loving that I.
Life's been great, but there's something I've been missing. They say it's never too late, so I'm hoping and I'm wishing, yeah. Is there someone out there who would be my one and only? The answer to my prayers, who would stop me feeling lonely? 'Cause I feel insecure. I want love and so much more. I need someone worth fighting for. The one I want to
You're listening to Mr. Smooth and Savvy right here on The Douglas Coleman Show. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Go listen, download, and subscribe to The Douglas Coleman Show. It's available at the website douglascolemanmusic.com/DCS. Also on iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube. The Douglas Coleman Show is an internationally syndicated talk and music show that features fascinating and sometimes famous guests from all aspects of the entertainment industry. The topics can range from light and fluffy to sober and serious. Our focus is on music artists, but we also feature producers, authors, directors, and even promoters. The Douglas Coleman Show. Sometimes chat, sometimes music, always entertaining. Again, it's available today at the website douglascolemanmusic.com/DCS. You can also connect with them on Facebook at Douglas Coleman Show 1, follow on Twitter at Douglas Coleman 3, and you can even find them on TuneIn Radio. Again, that's the Douglas Coleman Show at the website douglascolemanmusic.com/DCS, iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, and more. Go listen, download, subscribe, and share with your social networks today.
Tired of living in a culture of lies, fake news, and alternative facts? The Pro-Truth Pledge reverses the tide of lies by calling on politicians, and everyone else, to commit to truth-oriented behaviors. The pledge asks signees to commit to 12 behaviors that research in behavioral science shows lead to truthfulness, such as clarifying one's opinions and the facts, citing one's sources, and celebrating people who update their beliefs toward the truth. Private citizens who sign the pledge get the benefit of contributing to a more truth-oriented society. Public figures get more substantive rewards for signing the pledge in the form of positive media and public recognition. The pledge crowdsources the truth by asking volunteers to evaluate the statements of public figures who sign the pledge. Take the pledge, demand that your elected representatives do so, and encourage your friends to take it at protruthpledge.org.
After the loss of my dog Mandy, I had difficulty sleeping. She had been my best friend for years. She slept on the end of my bed, and I found her snoring soothing. It was difficult for me, as I also found little support for my grief. Not being able to sleep was the worst. I decided to create an audiobook to help people like me. Listen to my voice as you drift into a peaceful sleep, taking a journey using your dog's memories, accompanied by rain falling, birds singing, and a waterfall. To get your download, go to Amazon and search Relax by Jane Yates. Thanks to Douglas Coleman for this spot.
Hi there, this is Stuart Epps from the UK, record producer, engineer. You might have heard of me. I've worked with artists from Elton John to Led Zeppelin to Bad Company, Twisted Sister, Robbie Williams, Oasis, many great bands and artists in the past and the present and hopefully in the future. But you can work with me as well. You know, all you got to do is get in touch with me on eppsmusicproductions.com. That's EWPSproductionsmusic.com. And I can help you with your productions and with your recordings. A lot of people do home recordings now, which you can only take so far. Maybe they need a bit of professional help. So get in touch with me and we can sort it out. And thanks for Douglas Coleman for giving me the spot. Thanks a lot. Cheers, bye.
DJC Music and DJC Productions are pleased to announce a brand new website. We have started a listing website for radio show hosts as well as potential show guests. This is a meeting site where hosts and guests can come together. Show hosts can list their show and types of guests they're interested in booking. Potential guests can list their talents, bio, accomplishments, or anything they feel makes them an interesting radio show guest. There are no recurrent payments, only a one-time $5 listing fee. Your listing will stay up until you decide to cancel. Previous guests of The Douglas Coleman Show are welcome to submit their guest listing free of charge. Go to radiohostsandguests.com. That's radiohostsandguests.com.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Hello, this is Angelo Rodrigues from the Mystics, and we're going to play a track called Directions in the Douglas Coleman Show. So enjoy.
Okay, please welcome my guest, Angelo Rodrigues from the Mystics. Hi, Angelo. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Coleman. How you doing?
Oh, just fine. Call me Douglas, please. Mr. Coleman, I feel so old.
Okay.
So you are in a band called the Mystics. I know we've played a couple of your tracks already. I really like your music, and we've been...
I appreciate it.
We've been hooked up on Facebook for a little while, but this is the first time that we've had a chance to talk to each other. So thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And
thank you for having me.
We'll have a little chance to chat and get to know you a little bit better. Give us a little bit of your background first, and then we'll talk about the band and how the band got together. And
okay.
We've got 3 of your tracks to play. I'm not sure we'll get to all 3, but we'll get at least 2 of them in here on the show, and maybe we'll do one as a preview or something before the interview. We'll see how it goes, see how we do for time. But yeah, give us a little bit of background, if you would.
Okay, well, I was born in Dallas, Texas, and I was very influenced at a young age. I got into music at a young age. I started playing guitar around when I was 13 years old. And I started, I was self-taught. I bought me one of those guitar books from the store, and I started just learning these chords.
Great.
Chord progression. My dad was he was very music orientated. He liked listening to all types of music, and he would listen to this cassette all the time while we were driving when I was a little boy, and I would listen from 50s rock, Elvis, Frank Sinatra, 70s rock, the 60s. The Beatles so it really influenced me. Really made me want to take music very serious as a songwriter. And yes, and then I moved to Corpus around when I was about 15 years old, and I established myself here. And I went to high school and I met my drummer. He was self-taught. He was classically trained. I mean, he learned from a teacher at first, and we got together and we just started playing every day in the garage. We would rehearse. We weren't that good at first, but as time went by, we developed our sound, and we just put an ad on Craigslist, and we were able to get other musicians on board. I had about a couple of songs that I'd written already. We just started playing music, and we've been doing live shows. Recently, we've been going a couple of cities around Texas. We're trying to get established, and so far we're doing real good.
That's great. Now, who are the other members in your band?
My drummer, his name is Caleb Cantu, and I have a lead guitar player. His name is Kris Constance, and I have a bass player named Miguel. They just barely joined the band recently, but we really hit it off together as a band. We really connect. We're very tight. And my lead guitar player, he hasn't even played that long. He's been playing the guitar only for 3 years, but he's already a very promising, great guitarist.
In the pictures that you guys sent me, there's 3 guys. So are you a 4-piece band now?
Yes, now we're a 4-piece band. We just officially haven't put him on our Facebook page yet, but we're on our way of adding him as an official member now.
Okay, great.
He just joined the band recently, a couple of months ago.
Who came up with the name The Mystics?
Actually, it was my sister. She said that we had like a very dreamy pop sound to our music, and she just came up one time and told us, "Hey, why don't y'all call each other the Mystics?" And I was like, "That sounds about right."
No, it's a great name. I love it. I think it's a great name for a band. So, who does the writing? Do you do all the writing?
Yes, I do mostly all the writing. I compose the melodies, and I write the lyrics. And I come up with the structure, and then I give it to the band members, and then we all collaborate and see who plays what section, what lead, and everything.
Well, I noticed on your Facebook page that you do have a lot of you post pictures of the Beatles and different things, and I think that's fantastic because I'm a huge Beatles fan as well. The Beatles seem to have broken the time barrier, or the timeline, whatever you want to call it, where generation after generation after generation are still listening to their music. And there aren't very many bands that you can say that about. Bands come and go, but the Beatles have basically lasted forever. And I know people that are in their 60s and 70s who grew up with the Beatles, and I was kind of like the second wave. I was a little young. I mean, I was born when they were around, but I was just a little kid. But I do remember listening to some of their music when I was, in kindergarten and first grade. And then the next generation came and they were listening to it, and it just keeps going on and on. I'm guessing you're, in your 20s maybe? Late 20s? Or
yes, I'm 28.
28, okay. So, a whole nother generation has picked up on them again. And
I see these little kids, they're still listening to their music.
Well, it's great music. And the thing about the Beatles that was so interesting was when you listen to their music, it sounds simple enough so that people that are non-musicians can pick up on it. Oh, it's catchy, it's got good lyrics and a very catchy tune that sticks in your head. When musicians listen to it, you hear all of these things that they did that were very interesting. Different chords that they used and different ways that they put songs together. And when you're a songwriter, I know for me, I look at the song in a little bit of a different way than somebody who's not a songwriter, because you kind of know what they're doing. And so you say, oh, they put that chord in there, or, oh, they did it this way. You know what I'm saying? So
I know exactly what you're saying.
Right. And so when you do that with the Beatles music, it's like, wow, that was really cool how they did it like this, and they did, and yet when it's all put together, it just sounds like a great little pop song.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle.
Right. One of the more interesting songs that they did was Help, where it starts with the chorus. And, how many songs do you know that start with the chorus? Not too many, but that one does. And yet it seems perfectly natural when you listen to the song. Yes,
I know what you're saying.
Right, like very
innovative around that time.
Very innovative. All right, well, let's get to one of your songs. We've got 3 here. Let me pull them up. We've got Directions, Help Me, and Outside My Window. These are all off of your new EP, right? Songs to the World?
Yeah, Songs to the World, the Mystics.
Okay, has that come out already? The EP is out?
Yes, you can look us up on Spotify, Reverb Nation, Facebook.
Okay. Which song do you want to play first?
Outside My Window sounds like a real good one. It's a very personal song.
Okay. Any story about that?
I was going through a rough time because my mother was sick. She passed away recently, 3 years ago.
Oh, sorry.
And I was going through a dark depression because she was going through a lot, and it just made me write this song. It inspired me to write this song called Outside My Window. It's about people that you lose, but you end up, if you believe in a higher being, that you will see them again.
Okay. Well, let's have a listen to this. This is Outside My Window by the Mystics.
Smiling, angels flying, no more crying, sun of life, always shining, never the night, never the night, just 2 golden kings, and the angels and their wings, people I knew died before. I saw them coming back to say hello, and how you been, and did you miss me? 'Cause I really like to see you again. 'Cause I really like to see you again.
Yeah, really nice. Really nice song.
Thank you.
I can see the Mystics is a perfect name for you guys.
Yeah.
Because the song is very mystical. It has that kind of, flowing, sort of in the clouds kind of sound. Couple of comments about your song. Again, we're talking about when musicians listen to other musicians. They listen in a different kind of an ear.
Yes.
The first influence that I picked up on that song was Pink Floyd. That's what. Yeah,
I've heard that before.
Yeah, yes. It's got that sound, and then when you started, is that you singing?
Yes.
Okay. Then when you started singing, all of a sudden John Lennon, some of his ballads and things. I heard that, echo of him in there too. So.
I'm very influenced of his solo work also.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah. And I've always been a big fan of Pink Floyd also.
Well, it's a good combination. And the other thing I liked about the song that I'm perhaps a little old school, but I always prefer real drums in music, because so much that I hear now has computer drums. Electronic drums.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, something about them just
sounds very artificial.
Well, exactly. And when you hear real drums and somebody really playing, it just gives it that punch. You know what I mean? Gives it that kind of soul feeling that loses in computer drums. Computer drums just kind of leave me cold.
Oh yeah, I don't feel the heart in it no more.
Exactly true.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something about your productions now. Are you doing this yourself, or are you going into a studio and somebody else producing you?
Yes, we have a man that we work with. His name is Mason Shirley. He has his own little studio. It's called Sound Vibrations, and he does our recordings and all the mixing and mastering. And we've been working with him for a couple of years now, a few years, and he's recorded all of our material.
Yeah, the production's very nice. I like it. We'll get to another song in just a couple of minutes. I wanted to ask you a little bit about how you feel about the music industry. And first of all, are you doing this full time, or do you work another job, or what is your life like?
It's mostly music right now. I do have like a side job. I was going to school for music. I was going to college for music for a while. I was learning how to read music and pick up on my classical guitar skills. Right now, we're really focused on music right now, playing a lot of live shows and trying to get a bigger audience, a bigger fan base. You said that you went to school to learn to read music? Yes. Let me ask you something about that, because you did say earlier that you were completely self-taught, right? And yes. A lot of people, we talked about the Beatles, they could not read music. They were the first to admit that they didn't read music at all, that it was just, they played from their heart and from their ear. What I wanted to ask you is that once you studied learning to read music, did it help you in any way? Did it improve your playing or improve your ability to write? Here's the honest truth. I took that course, that one semester for music in college, and I did terrible. I failed the course because I wasn't really paying attention. I don't know. I didn't get the hang of it. Did you have this attitude when you were in that course that, what do I need this for? I can already play. I can already, how is this going to help me? That's how I really felt. Yeah. I feel like I was a little different from everybody in there, I don't know. It's just... What I always found interesting about guys, there's like two types of musicians. There's the kind that can read the dots and can read them very well. Yes. And then there's the kind like you who is just self-taught, who just plays from his heart, plays from his soul, and learned the technical things on his own. And the guys that can play, that can read the music, you can put a piece of music in front of them and they can just do it. But it's very robotic the way they do it, because they don't have like a feel for it. The guys that are really the masters are the ones that can read the music and feel it. You know what I mean? Yes. If they've got both, then, they're really in a great league of their own. But it's usually one way or the other.
You know, it's usually the guys that are soul players, you know, they say, I can't read music. You know, it's just a bunch of black dots on a page to me. Or the ones that, you know, you put it in front of them and they can find all the notes very fast. But
yes, I feel like I'm in that category of from the soul and the heart. Yeah, that's how I kind of write the music from.
It's funny you say that you did bad at that, because I took one course of music theory and I failed it.
Okay.
The teacher hated me. You know,
yeah,
because I came in already knowing how to play the piano, and I was singing, and I was, you know, writing music at that time, starting to write. And he just took, I don't know, he just had a real hair across his ass about the whole thing, and he just looked at me like, you know, I don't know, like I was the Antichrist or something, because I already had the skills to do something. And I was kind of looking at this whole thing. He was teaching music theory, which is basically math, you know, and
something that I'm not good at either.
Yeah, and I just kind of like, we just did not hit it off. And so I got an F in the course, and I just sort of laughed, you know. I said, well, I won't be taking that course again.
That's exactly what happened to me. I got like a pretty low F.
It's kind of funny. Well,
the funny thing is that he was promoting a self-taught band, Beatles, because he was always wearing that shirt, the Beatles. So he was a big Beatles fan.
Well, that's great that he was a Beatles fan, but you know, the Beatles never read music. So
I know. That's what I was.
I'm sure if John Lennon would have had nothing to do with that course, you know.
Yeah, I read about him that he dropped out of an art course because I guess he wasn't all into it.
Well, actually, he was into art, but then what happened was that the music picked up. I think given the choice between being an artist and a musician, he went with musician. You know, but he continued to sort of draw all the way through his life. I mean, there's those lithographs that he did with, you know, him and Yoko, and these, you know, that are worth a fortune now.
That's what I'm very influenced by, John's his artistic ambition, because compared upon John, I feel like, I don't know, John was more of he wrote what he felt. He was always writing about himself, and that's how I feel as an artist when I write my music.
They couldn't have been more opposite. John and Paul were like mirror images of each other. And it was even funny when you watch them perform, because Paul was left-handed, and when they would stand at a microphone together, you know what I mean? The two guitars going in the opposite directions. And it really, they could not have been more opposite. But when they did get together, it was magic. It was magical. Yeah. But, you know, off screen, they certainly had a lot of fights and a lot of arguments, and even their writing styles were so different. But that's what made the magic of the Beatles. It sort of was inevitable that wasn't going to last forever.
Too much genius in one band, too.
Right, exactly. You know, too much ego, and that's going to break it up for sure.
I give George Harrison credit because he wrote beautiful songs too.
He did, and actually, you know, it was probably just as well that they broke up, because one thing about the Beatles is that their sort of legacy has been cemented.
Yeah.
You know, there were other bands that broke up, and then they came back together, and they did a reunion tour, and then they did another reunion tour. I'm talking about the Stones. I do like the Stones, but, you know, they just kept getting back together, and they should have just at some point said, okay, that's it. You know, well, let's retire, you know, let's just leave our mark. These are our albums. This is what we've done. This is our body of work. And just go on and do something else. Where the Beatles, just once they broke up, that was it. Never got back together again, you know, and they left their mark on the 60s, because they broke up in April of 70. So it was the 60s was the Beatles, that was it. And when the 70s started, it was something different. It cemented their legacy and their magic and their kind of myth and everything else. People still dream about it, but, you know, this was it. This is what they did. All right, let's get to another song, and then I want to get back to my question about the music industry, and then we're probably going to have to wrap it up. So, what song do you want to play next?
The one called "Help Me."
Help Me, okay. Tell us about that one.
Well, that song's about. Well, it was around that period, like I said, about my mother being sick and everything, and I was going through a tough time, and I was going through a breakup also, so everything was hitting me at once, so I decided to write a song about myself and how I was feeling, and that's why it's called Help Me, so I was reaching out for something higher than me.
Well, this is Help Me by the Mystics.
Oh, the world keeps on turning, but I still feel the same. And now that I'm older, I could really use your help.
Hey, very nice. That one is definitely John Lennon influenced. That one is, I could hear it even stronger in that one than the first one. You know, the first one was Pink Floyd mixed in, but this one sounded really, in fact, it reminded me of that song, Number 9 Dream. You know that song?
I love that song.
Yeah. little bit of
It
that.
was around when he was separated from Yoko.
Right, yeah. Okay, let me get to that question about the industry, and then we're going to have to wrap this up. We got kind of sidetracked, but what I wanted to ask you was, what are your thoughts on the current state of the industry? Because your music, the influences of your music are from when the industry was very different than what it is now.
Yeah.
How do you think, what are your thoughts on, the whole digital revolution? And do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think?
Well, as a musician and an artist, I feel like it's a very useful tool for me. As a songwriter, it's a big palette where you can have easy access to find any kind of types of genres that you want to hear as a musician. Like it's like Spotify. I mean, you can type in any band name and it just comes out and you can listen to it.
Right.
Like from jazz, classical, and ambient music. It's just, it's a very helpful tool as an artist. As far as the music industry, I think it went down. That's how I feel. I feel like most music is about sex appeal and image, and everything's like a manufactured product. I feel there's no heart in it anymore in mainstream radio. Most of the time on the radio, like sometimes I have to turn it off.
Yeah, you and I are on the same page, definitely with that, because so much of what I hear just leaves me cold.
Yeah.
When I listen to music, it's got to hit me somewhere in the soul. It's got to invoke some kind of an emotional response, whether it be sadness or happiness or relaxation, whatever. It's got to do something. And when I listen to some of the
that's how I really feel about music.
Yeah,
it got to move me somewhere inside.
Right.
When I listen to, that's why I don't listen to the radio that much anymore. There's a lot of great artists out there. Don't get me wrong, because you just have to find them. They're buried way behind what we call mainstream commercial appeal now. Yeah, there's still some great songwriters that very influenced me around this time, but they're just not on the radio anymore.
Yeah, well, everything's online, and like you said, it's just a matter of trying to wade through everything to find it.
Yeah, it's like a big file where you gotta keep searching.
Well,
throw away. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a giant bowl, and you just got to stick your hand in there and pull something out, and it's not that one, and you keep picking until you get the right one. But
yeah, exactly.
Eventually, you can find it, I think.
Because I still hear a lot of great artists around this time. I mean, there's still a lot of musical art integrity out there. It's just not this is not out there no more. Everything sounds the same to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Computerized.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Well, and the computer has really sterilized the music,
Yeah, it has.
And now people that are real music purists would say that even CDs have sterilized music compared to listening to a vinyl record.
I agree.
I think so too. I mean, there is a definite difference. I remember when the Beatles catalog first came out on CD back in the 80s, and I remember I picked up the White Album and Abbey Road and took them home, put them in the CD player and listened, and I went, oh, that just doesn't sound as good as my old scratched up vinyl album that I've played 1,000 times, with all the pops and clicks and everything, but it just didn't sound right.
That's how my father is. He prefers the albums, the vinyl. He has a big collection of it. He still goes out there and finds them and plays it on his record player and everything.
It's starting to come back. I mean, there are shops popping up more and more that are carrying vinyl. And in fact, even like new artists, or maybe not new artists, but new releases of old artists, they're giving you your choice. You can get it for digital download, CD, or vinyl. You at least have the choice. You can buy the vinyl now.
Pretty neat right there too. I like that.
Yeah, I think there are enough.
CDs are becoming more obsolete. I can see now. Talk about.
Oh,
like
definitely.
You said, digital.
Yeah. Well, because you can download everything to a file. So if you want the convenience of having 1,000 songs on a handy drive that you can just plug into your car and go, then that's cool. But if you really want to just sit down and relax in your house and listen to some music, then the real music purists it's still on vinyl.
Yes.
I think that's a good balance. You know, in the car, obviously, you're not going to have a vinyl going in the car.
Oh, no.
But
yeah.
So I think, you know, one suits one's needs in the other, or if you're, you know, on an airplane or something, on a bus, whatever, and you can just listen with your phone, and then that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I got into Spotify. It's a very good place to discover all these different types of music. Like, I've been listening to Miles Davis recently.
Oh, Miles is one of my favorite. Man, you and I are on actually the same page musically. Miles Davis.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got like most of his albums. I saw him in concert a year before he died.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome. One of the best shows I've ever seen. He was good right to the very end. And
I love it.
God, that was such a great show. And yeah, I've always loved
a real
Miles.
genius.
Miles, that trumpet talked. That trumpet was his voice. He could make that thing cry. He could make it sound angry. I mean, there was nobody like him. Absolutely nobody.
I could feel all the emotions of a human being in that one album I was listening to, like Kind of Blue.
Oh yeah, that's a great
album.
Yeah.
And Bitches Brew. I love that album.
That one's cool. Someday My Prince Will Come is a real nice album too. I used to put that one on after working and pour a glass of Scotch whiskey and just sit down and put that album on. And by the end of the album, I was completely gone somewhere else. You know.
Yeah, that's what I love about music. The way it makes a person feel.
It can just take you away. Moment. You know, you had a bad day, everything was really shitty, and then you put that on and you're in a better place, you know? And that's the beauty of music.
Yeah, that's what I really like about it. I mean, that's how I am as a songwriter. I'm very diverse. I like to listen to everything, not just one type of genre, because it gets boring after a while.
Have you listened to any of the old Ella Fitzgerald recordings?
I just recently listened to both of those albums.
She was probably the best singer ever of that time, of that jazz. Man, she had it. There's a couple of great albums that she put out. One was called Live in Rome on her 40th birthday, 1958. The quality is really, really good. And I think her voice was just at its peak. She got better as she got older. When she was young, yes, she had this really kind of cutesy, poppy, Betty Boop sounding voice. I mean, it was good, but as she got older, her voice seasoned. It got a little gruffier and a little more, you know what I mean? And
oh, yeah. Kind of like Bob Dylan. His voice changes over there.
Yeah. And so when the best stuff that she did for me was like when she was in her 40s, her 50s, and her 60s. Those were the 20 years there was just the best stuff I think she ever recorded.
What was her name again?
Ella Fitzgerald.
Okay, yes, I've heard about her.
Yeah, put her on your list, and you know, if all her stuff's out there. It's all on YouTube and everywhere.
I'm gonna give me a scotch tonight and listen to it.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Angelo, we got to wrap this up, man. It was great talking to you. What is your website? You know, mention your website. People can look you up.
Oh, it's the Mystics on Facebook.com.
Okay.
TheMistics, and you can find us on iTunes too, and you can find us on Spotify. Our EP's out, Songs to the World.
All right, great. Well, it was great talking to you. I love talking to fellow musicians, especially when we like the same kind of music. Always makes me feel good.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on your show. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's about all the time we've got for the show today. I want to thank my special guest, Angelo Rodrigues of the Mystics. And thank you to Acme Giants, Sarah P., and Jason McDoombe. This is Douglas Coleman saying goodbye.
Give us